Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, and today I'm going to be reviewing the brand new LEGO Creator 3-in-1 Medieval Horse Knight Castle. This is set number 31168, it released on August 1st 2025, and I picked this up on day one for £109.99. It contains 1,371 pieces, and as it's a Creator 3-in-1, you get 3 different build options, but I'll be focusing on the main castle build in this review. If we take a quick look at the front of the box, we can see the medieval dragon from set number 31161. We actually got our very first look at the Horse Knight castle in the artwork for the medieval dragon. It was tucked away in the background, which makes it a nice little Easter egg for us castle fans. Something else that caught my eye is this black fortress in the background. For months I've been wondering who it belongs to, but with the yellow flag that we can see, I think it's safe to assume it's part of the Snake Knights territory. It definitely fits their colour scheme, but let me know in the comments, who do you think this belongs to? Now let's spin this around and take a look at the back of the box. We can see all 3 of the alternate builds here. First up is the back view of the Horse Knight Castle. We then get this town scene, which is complete with a windmill, which can fold into a more compact layout. And lastly, we have this medieval joust. I think this one would look really good on display. Now let's get the box open and see what's inside. We get 11 of the new paper bags in total, plus another for storing the instructions. There are 3 instruction booklets, one for each of the alternate builds. The one for the castle is definitely the thickest of the bunch. And don't forget to scan the QR code and register your set for 20 insider points. Here's the castle fully built. It took me a few hours to put together, but now let's dive into all of the details and see what this set has to offer. We're going to start with the minifigures. We get an amazing selection in this set. There's 6 in total, and I'm going to show them to you one by one. Our first minifigure is the blacksmith. He's got a new torso print. It's fairly simple, but it's perfect for medieval mocks. Around the back there's some basic printing as well, nothing too flashy, but it gets the job done. He also comes with this chest full of treasure, which we'll see later on in the video. Up next we have the Horse Knight Spearman. He has the new Horse Knight emblem on his chest, and a horseshoe on the end of his belt, and if we spin him around, we can see there's minimal printing on the back of the torso. Our third figure is the Horse Knight Archer. She has identical torso and leg printing to the Spearman, and she's ready for battle with her quiver full of arrows and her bow. She has this really nice hood piece, as well as double-sided head printing. Our fourth minifigure is the Horse Knight Queen, who again, she has the same torso and legs as the previous 2 figures. You have the choice between giving her this helmet, or her hairpiece with her crown. She comes equipped with a longsword and this awesome new Horse Knight shield. Our fifth minifigure is the Horse Knight King. He has his own unique torso and leg printing, which is similar to the other 3 knights at first glance, but when you compare them side by side, you'll notice a lot more intricate detail. My favourite touch is the horseshoe embellishments just below his neck, and we can also see that just below the knee. He comes with this long blue cape, and if we move it aside, you can see both the back printing and his alternate face, which has a more expressive look. He's armed with one of the newer sword moulds, and of course, a Horse Knight shield. Now for my favourite figure in the set, we have the Snake Knight. His torso features these subtle purple lines, as well as these silver studs that both carry on down to the legs. Just below the neck, you'll spot snake scale detailing and even a snakeskin belt. He wears a long black cape, and if we move it to one side, we can see the back of the torso printing. For his headgear, he has a black bucket helm with a yellow plume, but you can swap that out for this slick back hairpiece. He also has an alternate face with a more shocked expression, and like the king, he's equipped with one of the newer sword moulds, but the real showstopper here is the brand new shield design. This might just be my new favourite LEGO piece. The Snake Knight and the King have their own brick-built horses, however their inclusion has the LEGO castle community split down the middle. Personally, I like how they look, and the size comparison next to a minifigure I think is spot on. I especially like the use of the cheese slopes for the hooves. However, one downside is that they can't be secured to studs, which limits posing options. Each horse carries a jousting lance topped with a flag, which looks great, although when you put a minifigure in the saddle, it tends to clash with the cape, so it works better if you just remove it. Another problem is due to the design of the saddle, the minifigures aren't held very securely in place, they just sit in there without any studs to lock them down. Now with all of that out of the way, let's take a look at the castle itself. As you can see with the use of the blue plates, this castle's designed to sit in the middle of a moat. The blue transitions nicely into these green plates, which then meets the stone wall. We can see several of these arrow slits on the outside wall, which makes for some nice detailing. And if we come over to this side, we can see a small tree that's beginning to work its way up the castle wall. On the left tower, there's a small torch, and the main gate has a Horse Knight shield above it, and behind that, you'll find the mechanism that works the drawbridge. You simply just twist this piece here, that pulls the chains up, and then you lock it into place. Then to lower it back down, you simply just lift up this piece to release it. We can then follow that on through to the courtyard. You can split the build in half to access the interior more easily, which is a great play feature. Let's take a closer look. Unfortunately, it's a little bit plain, so there's not a lot for us to talk about. The corner of these walls have a small opening, but I'm unsure what the purpose of these are. The same can be said about this tower, as there's not even enough room to fit a minifigure in there. However, I do like that the outside matches this other part of the build. The tower has a small blue flag located at the top. There are a few other details that can be found around the battlements, such as this torch and a barrel for storing weapons. I do wish that the walls were a little bit taller, as the horse knights feel a little bit exposed. Another feature of this section is that you can connect it all together to make a smaller and more compact castle. Now the back half of this build is where this set really starts to shine. As you can see here, we have 3 separate entrances, each for a different area of the castle. From left to right, we have one for the stables, another for the blacksmiths, and lastly one for the King's Hall. The stable door here allows for the horse to peek his head out into the courtyard. However, space is a little bit limited, as you can only fit one horse in there at a time. The designers have made sure to include some extra details that you would normally see in a stable. And if we come around to the side of the castle, hidden behind a plant piece, we have the blacksmith's treasure chest. Our next area is the blacksmith's forge. This includes a small anvil used for making weapons and armour, as well as a hammer hanging on the wall. There is also some tile pieces on the floor to give it a stony looking texture. There's also this pot hanging in the fireplace, but it's unclear if it's for forging metal or cooking food, maybe both. The next area is the King's Hall / throne room, but before we go inside, I want to show you guys the outside first. The door leading into the hall has a really simple design, but I think it works really well and fits nicely into the frame. There are some black windows either side of the door which can be opened and closed, and above that is a red and white shield for some decoration. Despite the candles and chandelier inside, it's still a little bit dark, but we can bring in some light by popping off the second floor. We have a much clearer look at what's inside. I think the designers did really well with the space that's available. We have the King's throne in the back, and either side of that we have these red banners, and a golden goblet for our king to drink from. Underneath the windows we have a pair of tables topped with some candles, and on the right hand side there's the fireplace which is shared with the blacksmith. But the main attraction for this room has to be the dinner table. There's 4 red stools around it, and there's a few different food pieces for our minifigures to feast on. There's another red and white shield hanging from the ceiling, as well as a yellow and green one. And one small play feature is that you're able to swing the chandelier from side to side. If we head back to the stables, we can climb up this narrow staircase to the second floor. There's a small platform for you to place a minifigure looking out the window, or you can carry on to the next area, which is the King's master bedroom. As you walk through the door, there is a small fireplace and chimney to keep the king warm. This chimney comes out of the roof and is represented by this white feather as smoke. There are some windows for the king to look out in the morning when he wakes up, but my favourite part of this room has to be the bed. I think it looks fantastic, especially with such a small amount of pieces, and I like that the bottom tile has studs on it, which allows for the king to be held securely in place. Above the king's bedroom we have a very small tower with this nice dark blue roof, along with a blue flag. There's a tiny amount of space for a minifigure, but there's no clear way for them to access it as there's no stairs. The main tower here also has this problem, as there's no way for your minifigure to get into this room, or the lookout position at the top. However, the spot is perfect for your archer, as it gives them a 360-degree view of the horizon, so they're able to keep a lookout for any potential threats such as the snake knights. And again, there's another blue flag as well as a torch. In the room underneath, we have this small table with an open book and quill. I do wish there was just a little bit extra in this room just to make more use of the space. Now, the outside of the king's master bedroom is one of my favourite bits about this set. I like the colour combination of the light tan and dark blue. It really has that medieval feel. The roof is created by angling these 4x6 plates, which have some different types of tiles on there for some added texture. I'm a fan of these wooden rails. They're made by using some snot bricks along with some modified tiles. And oddly enough, this walkway here is one of the most spacious areas in the entire set. You can easily fit the 5 horse knight figures up here if you wanted. That's everything to show you for the medieval horse knight castle. Now let's go through my overall thoughts and rate this set out of 10. The highlight of this set is definitely the minifigures. I've said it before, but I do wish the horse knights had a different colour scheme, but I've made my peace with it. The snake knight looks fantastic, but ideally I would have liked a second one included in the set. But hopefully LEGO will make both of these factions available on Pick a Brick in the future, so that we can all expand our armies. Now for the actual castle, I'm a really big fan of the back half of this set, but unfortunately the front half lets it down for me. I think this could have been improved by making the walls and gates taller and more imposing. That extra height would give the castle a stronger presence and make it feel like a real challenge for an enemy to attack. The most important thing to talk about is the price. At £110 in the UK, it's definitely on the expensive side, and it feels even more so when you consider the overall size of the build. But that being said, like most LEGO sets, it will almost certainly go on sale, so you could wait for a discount if you don't want to pay the full price. But would I still recommend buying it? Absolutely. The excellent minifigure selection and wide variety of useful parts makes it a great pick, especially if you're planning to build your own custom castle mocks. So taking all of that into account, I'm going to rate this set a 7 out of 10. There's a lot I like, but there's definitely some room for improvement. But guys, let me know in the comments, what would you rate this set out of 10? I'm really curious to see what everyone else's reactions to it is. Hopefully in 2026, us castle fans are treated to an actual new theme. We're all desperate for it, especially as we had the Kraken and Griffin Knights introduced to us a few months ago. I would love it if LEGO released a full wave of sets with these 4 factions for us to buy. In my last video, I actually made my own custom Griffin Knight battle pack, so if you haven't watched that yet, then go and check it out. If you enjoyed this video, then give it a like, share it with your friends, and if you want to see more LEGO Castle content, then smash that subscribe button. I'm trying to reach my goal of 1,000 subscribers, so I'd love it if you could join the Viking Bricks army. And remember to turn on the notification bell so that you never miss another upload. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.